The feds have started the second investigation of Tupac. Now they're looking into exactly how Diddy wrote the $1 million check. Who did Diddy give the $1 million check to that was supposed to take it to Keefe D? Because this is what they're trying to figure out now. They know that the $1 million check did not just grow legs and walk all the way from New York to LA to Vegas where it all went down. Somebody was supposed to drive in that car. This is why they're looking at the whole entire drivers, the entourage of P. Diddy, to find out exactly who was in town meeting up with Keefe D. Because how did Diddy be able to speak on the phone to Keefe D if he didn't call him directly? That means somebody, a middleman, had to have actually took the call from Diddy from the beeper and the pager. Because if y'all know anything about anything, you know that in the late 90s, early 2000s, everybody had a pager and a beeper. All you 60, 70-year-olds, you know what I'm talking about when it comes down to it. Because at the end of the day, Diddy made the call to the dude he wrote the $1 million check to. That guy was supposed to take that $1 million check, cash it, and then disperse it to Keefe D, Big Dre, Orlando, everybody. They tried to pay off the rental car place to wrap the car because the shell casings that was found in from the detail shop came back to the same strap they used to hit up Tupac. This is why Greg Caden, the first visit he made to actual Keefe D's house, they sat there and talked in the garage. He said he had dirt on him from everything that they was doing in the streets and that he was willing to actually go and get him and lock him up right then and there. But Keefe D had to file the agreement. He agreed to disclose the actual secret information that he's been holding on to about Tupac, because from Keefe D being exactly who he is, he spoke with the higher ups. He spoke with Sugeknight. He spoke with Diddy. They all decided that this whole thing was going to happen. If you rocking with Tupac and you support Tupac, put the 222s in the comment section right now, because it's justice for Tupac or nothing. At the end of the day, this 27 years took way too long. The first 6 months, they should have been able to go to Keefe D and be able to figure out exactly what he knew, since he was in the car. He's the one the name came back to in that Cadillac. If they would have just got the plates of that Cadillac, they would have known that that was a rental car from LA. So they knew that it was a whole case. This is why LAPD took the case. They found out that the fingerprints that matched the suspects at the Tupac came back from that rental car. That's when Greg Caden took the case. They could have solved the Biggie case a lot quicker, but they had to switch to the Pac case because Keefe D was at Biggie's party and he was at the MGM where Pac had last been seen, leaving the Orlando fight and the Mike Tyson fight. The security camera footage released by ADT and TMZ says that what Vlad's interview showed was correct. The fact that they jumped him in. This whole thing is breaking news because now that Diddy's officially been charged in this indictment for the Tupac case, is growing, and this whole thing is rising to fame and bringing everything back into the forefront, just due to the fact that Lil C's, he revealed exactly what Diddy did seconds before Biggie got sent up, before Tupac got sent up. Mob James knew exactly what they was doing. He was riding right behind Tupac and Sugeknight. So that BMW wasn't traveling alone. Tupac does not ride around alone, and Sugeknight does not ride around without his crew following close behind him. So how did these people end up intercepting, going around the crew, and being able to get right next to Tupac? Just like how they actually passed Biggie's security guard, cut off Gene Deal, and hit up Biggie when Diddy already ran that red light. This is the same thing. And what we don't understand is, how could all these people know that Diddy never said anything, but they were scared and they knew that he had the $1 million check that they wrote out for? They stood there and really looked at what Diddy was doing a long time ago. And if they wasn't willing to speak up back then and tell Mike Tyson to look out for Tupac, there isn't any reason for all of this stuff. Because at the end of the day, we all know that what's in the dark is going to come out to light, man. And the whole arrogance behind P. Diddy doing all this is making a lot of people go against each other. You got to remember, this whole thing was to push the East Coast, West Coast. Look how many people got fooled into joining gangs and joining street groups, all because they thought that they was doing something by actually furthering the East Coast, West Coast beef. This will be a tough decision for the DA, because so far what they have is that the shooter in the story has an accomplice to it. What Keefe D is saying that is that these deals that they made for that proffer agreement is on the arrest record, and a lot of them, their credibility is sketchy because they was hanging out in the streets with the actual thugs and people who was catching cases every day. Then on the other side, you have Diddy, who's actually behind the offices. He's in the Superstar. He in the tower. He in Jay-Z's office all the way up there in New York. And so the truth is going to come out at the end, because all of this is basically setting up to get the RICO on Diddy and Bad Boys. Because now if Diddy's officially arrested, is going to be a shame on this whole entire thing, because now everybody that he actually lied to, everybody he told he had no part to do with it. Remember, when they asked Diddy, did he send a hit to take Tupac out, he did not answer no. He says, I'm not going to comment on that. This is how you know that Diddy's holding back a whole lot of information that he knows is going to get him jammed up. This is why Diddy never took that Vlad interview. There was no amount of money that Vlad could pay Diddy to get him to confess to the Tupac, but Vlad knew that there was a dollar amount that Keefe D would take, because you got to remember, Keefe D does not have as much money as P. Diddy, and that's a fact. If y'all really know what's going on in New York, you know for the fact that P. Diddy is the one who sat back there, and him and Jay-Z got all the money from all this mess that's going on from every rapper. Y'all got to understand, this comes back to two things, man. That this whole thing from Biggie, Pac, they basically, Diddy said that they had to get taken out the picture. And this is what Gene Deal reported when Gene Deal, Diddy's bodyguard, was actually coming out and exposing everything inside of Bad Boys. He exposed what Lil C saw. He exposed how Diddy has something to do with Biggie. He exposed how Puff Daddy has something to do with Tupac. He overheard the phone calls of them actually saying that he'll give him $1 million if they can get him out the way. This is why when Diddy called to check in with Keefe D, he said, yeah, I just heard on the news that they got Pac. He asked him, was that us? That's a direct indication that they had something to do with plotting and planning this. Tupac's brother leaked the last phone call of Diddy actually blackmailing him to avoid prison. And this is why they saying that Tupac's brother, Tupac's mom, they want to get the justice for Tupac, because at the end of the day, they know that they sat back for 27 years and tried not to intervene, even though they knew Keefe D personally, even though they knew Suge Knight on a personal level. They sat there and did business with him. 6 minutes ago, Diddy slipped up as Keefe D's confession exposed his own involvement. This is why they should have never went out there and spoke on open cases. It doesn't matter if it's been 20 years, 25 years, 27 years. You should never actually go on the record live in front of national television on Vlad TV and put your business out there that you could end up getting locked up for. This is a rule 101. Out of all the people, Keefe D should have known this the whole entire time. Suge Knight knew this. That's why Suge Knight is still locked up from his other things, but he's not. He's always switching the story around with the Tupac, because he knows that Diddy and Keefe D, they're going to slip up and tell on themselves. This whole thing comes back to Jada Pinkett revealing the long list of people who was already trying to hit up Tupac when she was dating him. They knew that the dudes in LA was looking for Tupac the whole entire time. 50 Cent came out and he spoke about what happened with Snoop Dogg. He reacted to Suge Knight. He said Suge Knight deserves this. The fact that they went up and jumped Suge Knight behind bars because of the fact that he cooperated with Diddy. Everybody knows that Suge Knight was the music boss for Tupac. So if Suge Knight is a music boss and P. Diddy is a music boss, you can't tell me and sit there and say that they don't know each other and that they don't talk to each other. If Jay-Z talks to Yo Gotti, then P. Diddy talks to Suge Knight, and that's point blank, period. At the end of the day, it's justice for Tupac. Y'all can't not say any other thing. If you actually want to send your condolences to Tupac and advocate for his memorial to be a legitimate standing monument, I want you guys to put the 222s in the comment section and put justice for Tupac. Because at the end of the day, Whack 100 is getting the information of why Keefe D got arrested in the first place in connection to Tupac's shooting. This whole thing was exploited. They set him up. It was actually rigged to make Tupac look like he was actually distracted by the two girls in the drop top. They sent everybody there because any good security would know that they would not have let somebody get on the side of Suge Knight's car with the window open with Tupac, the $100 million worth man, sitting right there with everything to lose. This is why Gene Deal said that the fact that them dudes who hit up Biggie actually went around the security cars and knew what car Biggie was in and what seat he was sitting at, it means somebody from the inside was telling them and trying to actually get him hit up and work around the security. And so this is why Gene Deal, P. Diddy's bodyguard, he's going to testify and sit on the stand to get the justice for Tupac, because he knows way more than a lot of people are knowing, man. And in 1997 and 1998, NYPD came out with a historical criminal investigation to find out what happened to Biggie Smalls, and it led them to work with Greg Caden to set the Fed case up to actually get the proffer agreement for Keefe D so they could make him wear a wire to go to New York and Philly to talk to Von Zip so that they can get Von Zip on recording from Keefe D saying that Diddy gave him the $1 million to hit up Tupac, and that they actually wrote the check to Aaliyah's manager. And before Aaliyah got sent up, RIP, if you rocking with Aaliyah, put the AAAs in the comment section. So y'all gotta understand, this whole entire Tupac story is about to get solved. And if you want to find out exactly this breaking news information that's coming out in the next 8 minutes, y'all need to subscribe to the channel.